Maria Cade joins us live outside of the Douglas County Election Commission with what you need to know before you make your voice heard today. Maria, good morning.
Good morning, Aaron and Cerise. It is a big day here in Douglas County, across the country. People are getting ready to vote. Of course, here in Nebraska, those polls will open at 8 o'clock. Over on the Iowa side, those polls open at 7 o'clock for both states. As long as you're in line by 8 o'clock at night, you will be able to vote. So don't get out of line if you are still in line. Now, if this is your first time voting, or if you haven't voted in a long time, we want to break down that process for you a little bit. Now, here in Douglas County, they are divided into different precincts, hundreds of precincts. Each one has its own polling place. When you did register to vote, you should have gotten a card in the mail that tells you where to go for that specific polling place. If you did not get that, you're going to want to head over to our website, WOWT.com. We have that information for you, a link where you can put in your address and then go ahead and find that polling place. Then once you head in, you're going to find the sign-in table, tell them your name, and you're going to want to show them your voter ID. This is new this year. They're going to give you a sign-in and give you a ballot once they verify your voter ID, and we do have a list up on our website as well for those valid forms of ID that you're going to have to bring in order to go and vote. Once you fill out your ballot, you're going to bring it back to the poll workers, and they will be putting that ballot into the ballot box. Now, if you do make a mistake on your ballot, you are able to get a new one. Again, just ask those poll workers. They will go ahead and help you out and get you that new ballot. Good morning, Aaron and Cerise. We have moved in here inside the Douglas County Election Commission. As you can see behind me, we have a bunch of early poll workers who are coming in. They're getting their first trainings before they head out and provide some key things to those polling places, just those last finishing touches before everybody gets set for the polls to open here at 8 o'clock. And just like you said, Aaron, we are here with Brian Cruz, the Douglas County Election Commissioner. Brian, you guys have all been working so hard. The day is finally here, but we know that you shared a little bit of a prediction earlier in the week. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you expect for today's voter turnout?
Sure. So we have given out over 137,000 early voting ballots already. Now we've got about 9,500 of those still to come in. That's going to be about 50% of our vote. So I'm looking for somewhere in the neighborhood of 135,000 voters today, somewhere in that neighborhood. We got a few showers this morning, but it looks like Rusty's going to deliver that sun for us this afternoon. So it should be a beautiful afternoon and evening for people to get out there. I predicted 73%. Let's get to 75%. This is one time I don't mind being wrong.
Yeah, well, it looks like, just like you said, the weather is going to hopefully turn out for our voters who are heading out later in the day. Is this year, do you think that this is going to be a record number of turnout of voters coming out here in Douglas County? What do those numbers look like?
You know, I predicted just a little bit lower than 4 years ago. 4 years ago was 74.5%. It's because we had so many more by-mail ballots 4 years ago because of COVID. But I tell you, with the numbers we saw, almost 22,000 in-person voters. We've got, a huge return rate on our by-mail ballots already. I think we can get close to the 75% if we really get a good turnout today. So we'll see what the voters of Douglas County do. You have from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to make your voice heard.
Absolutely, yes. The clock is ticking. The countdown is coming. Just like Brian said, 8 a.m., those polls are going to open. We're going to be back here with Brian in our 6:30 half hour to talk a little bit more about what you need to know before you head out the poll. Yes, we are still here inside the Election Commission now. As you can see over to my left and behind me, there are early poll workers who are getting some signs to send out to those polling places, reminding Nebraskans who are getting ready to vote that they are going to need to remember some key things this year, some things that are a little bit new for this election season too. So we're going to bring Brian back in. Brian, what is something that every Nebraskan who's heading out to the polls today to vote, what do they need to know and remember?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, this is the first big election we've got voter ID. So the easiest and simplest way is if you've got a Nebraska driver's license or state ID. If you don't have that, you can go to our website, votedouglascounty.com. The voter ID's right on the homepage icon, and there's a whole host of accepted IDs out there.
There are some other things too that Nebraskans should remember. You can't electioneer at polling places too. Talk a little bit about that.
That's right. So you can't electioneer within 200 feet of a polling place. So that includes hats, buttons, pins, T-shirts, all of those kinds of things. And it's not just something that has a candidate's name on it. It could be also something associated with the candidate, like a slogan or like a blue dot or red Nebraska. So please just leave those home. It makes a much more pleasant environment for poll workers and for voters, and it's the law.
Yeah, when you talk about those poll workers too, I mean, we just saw a bunch of them who are getting ready, heading out to those polling places. What has it been like for you to see them, work and prepare and get ready for this day? Now, it's finally here. What's that been like to watch all of this unfold?
I have 14 permanent staff members here, including myself, and my team has been amazing. We have about 150 full-time temporary employees that's worked with us. We've got about 2,400 poll workers today across the county. So they really are the backbone of our democracy. So remember, these are your moms, your dads, your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your friends. Be kind today, and don't forget to thank them.
Yeah, a lot of work going into, preparing and getting everything ready for today. Is there anything else for people who are heading out to vote in person that they should know before we head out?
Absolutely. Be sure you know where you're going before you head out the door. If you have a question on your polling place, you can call our office at 444-VOTE, or you can go to our website, votedouglascounty.com. In the upper left-hand corner, you can go to find your voting information.
Live inside the Douglas County Election Commission. Just minutes ago, early poll workers were getting their final instructions before they headed off to their assigned polling places. Now, if today's your first time voting, or if you haven't voted in a while, we do want to break down and give you some reminders before you head out to the polls today. Now, new this year, we do want to remind you that you do need a valid ID to vote. This is new, of course, and we have that information for what specific types of ID you can bring up on our website, WOWT.com. Poll workers, they're going to sign you in. You're going to fill out your ballot and bring it back to them. Then they will put that ballot into the ballot box. And just a reminder, too, if you do make a mistake, you can get a new ballot. The polls here in Nebraska are open from 8 to 8 p.m. and then in Iowa, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. As long as you are in line by 8 p.m., you're allowed to vote. Back to you. Well, Aaron and Cerise, it has been a pretty steady stream here at MCC South since we have gotten here. We were here a little bit before 10:30, as you can see right behind me. There are voters getting ready to sign in with the poll workers who are here at MCC South and then make their way to the back where the ballots are being filled out, and people will be able to, share what they are thinking and make their voices heard for this election cycle. Now, we have been to multiple different polling places all throughout the morning, hitting and seeing, what those lines are like, what they're looking like. We're going to try and pull up some video here to show you. Opened at 8 o'clock. There was a pretty long line. It ended up wrapping throughout the entire showroom. We saw quite a bit of voters who were getting there, and they had a little bit of a wait too. We were there from, I'd say, about 8, again, right when they opened, until about 8:30. And that line was pretty long, voters, but they were eager and ready to make their voices heard. Now, around 9:30, Election Commissioner Brian Cruz, he was able to share a little bit of an update as far as how the day is going so far. One thing that he mentioned, though, one problem, they were able to remedy it, but there was an issue with the privacy sleeves. When people are filling out their ballot and getting ready to turn it back in, they ran out of those privacy sleeves. They said they didn't have enough, but there was a remedy. The poll workers, people who are waiting at the tables here, they have one sitting there, so when people were ready to turn in their vote, they would still be able to put it in that sleeve that was at the polling place at the sign-in table here, so that sleeve would still be protected.